this talk's a little different. You've moved past the valley of despair, you've moved on, and you're asking the question is, how do I change my X factor? How do I not keep bringing my ex-husband with me into my next relationship or into my next marriage? There's an old saying, you can be married many times, but you only get married once. And what that means is there comes a point where you feel like you've got it, you figured it out. Some of us figured it out on our first romantic encounter, some of us figured it out on our 7th. But relationships are important, and we all strive toward them. 98% of us are wired for relationships. They're important, and they define us, they feed us. And it's interesting, married men report the highest level of satisfaction. Because as men, we love that. And married women also report a very high level of security. They enjoy the stability. So both genders benefit from relationships. I want to read a quote to you on this. This is by Ralph Waldo Emerson. It's one of his great ones. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. And changing your X factor is we're going inside, ladies and gentlemen. It's no longer about what your ex did or didn't do, or about what your parents did or didn't do. But part of changing your X factor is ask yourself this question: what parent did I marry? It has no regard for gender, it has regard for unresolved issues. Salvador Minuchin, a famous, kind of like the father of family therapy, talked about how to the degree that we have unresolved issues with a particular parent, we tend to marry that parent. Now that's a frightening proposition. Frightening. Let me just reiterate the word frightening, okay? If you know what I'm talking about, you're with me. If you don't know, God bless you, just go do something else. But for those of us who married one of our parents, let's go forward. Rebuilding from the inside out is realizing what didn't happen in our childhood that we wanted, or what do we want today that we tend not to get. If you don't understand what that is, start with the first romantic relationship you watched and experienced, your parents. Whether they were married, divorced, whatever the circumstances were, you got a lot from it. I'm not talking about blaming, we're talking about understanding that. Love hurts, and also love cures you. And understanding what parent you married also sets you free. A lot of men marry their dad vis-a-vis a woman who may be critical, withholding, because they felt like they never got their approval. So going forward with your X factor, the question I want to ask you is, what does love look like to you? What does romantic love look like to you? And each of us may have an answer of what it looks like. We all do. And for many men who had a very critical dad, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say it's self-acceptance. That you feel like you're enough. You're acceptable. And many times we marry a partner who's anything but accepting of us, who tends to be very critical, to help us heal that wound. Very interesting. And many women will marry a man who resembles their mother, who might have been overbearing, over-controlling, punitive, because they want to find a way to develop their sense of self in that relationship. And part of knowing what parent you're married also helps you to realize what you really want. Because when it's all said and done, what we all really would like is to feel loved, adored, supported. So how does that look for you? And I ask you, what are the non-negotiable things you want with your romantic partner going forward that maybe you didn't have with your last partner? In 5 areas: communication, affection, intimacy, compatibility, and conflict resolution. And I'm going to start with the last one first. The ability to handle disagreements can really make a difference in a relationship. Compatibility. What's your spiritual, what's your values? Do you want kids, not kids? Are you physically attracted to each other? Intimacy desires. Do you like to talk? Do you share? Those are important questions. Affection. Touching, holding, hugging. Communication. Across the board, on every level. And your healing and creating your new life going forward is all about you, not your ex. And secondly, you're not responsible for your ex's healing or what they're doing or not doing. You're responsible for your own. And again, going back to the tennis court, you've got to own 100 of your 50. And self-acceptance and self-forgiveness is the quickest way to create a new life, a new home on every level of your life. And I also want you to think about to expand your love horizon, your comfort zone with love. What would that mean? What does that look like? What does it feel like? And are you willing to do it? You may think, but I can't. Okay, that's your X factor. And the more you understand that, the more you can do this. And I want to read something to you. The most beautiful and romantic relationship you will ever have, begins with you. The most important love relationship going forward, it starts with you. And when it starts with you, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes forward. You can change your world from the inside out, not from the outside in. Again, you can change it from the inside going out. And if you find yourself scared, you can't trust, revisit those 5 factors: the whiplash, the denial, the anger, not feeling resolved, not having hope. And ultimately, letting go of disappointment is the quickest way to write a new chapter in your life romantically. Because why do people keep getting remarried or dating? Because they want it to work. And the X factor is about how to make it work in a way that's never worked before. So I wish you the very best, and thank you for your time.